Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering, to those with a history of raising their performance to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Goldberg announces he's going to have a retirement match in 2025, and he said this on College Game Day.
We know you're trying to ride the coattails because the 2025 is supposed to be the year of John Cena. Goldberg, I have a message for you, my guy. We don't care about your retirement match. Your retirement match was 3 years ago. Go somewhere, go away.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough studio. We're in FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you didn't think everything was just going to go smoothly the rest of the way when the Grizzlies went up 15 points last night in Dallas against the Mavericks, because it didn't end well. Fourth quarter was a disaster. 6-game winning streak is over. We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. The next segment, about 20 minutes, Chris Vernon is going to join me. He's the host of the Chris Vernon Show. Weekdays, noon, Grind City Media. He'll pop in studio. I'll talk Grizz with him. Chris Vernon going to be in that chair in the next segment. When I finish talking to him, take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, Penny Hardaway's Tigers. They're going to return to the court tonight here inside FedEx Forum. Louisiana Tech is the opponent. I'll get you ready for that. We'll do it in about 40 minutes. The SEC destroyed the ACC in the SEC ACC Challenge last night. There were 10 games between the two leagues. SEC won 9 of them. It's the best league in the country. I'll give you some numbers to support it. We'll do that a little later on in the show. A Pop-Tart flavor is returning from the vault for the Pop-Tart Bowl. I'll tell you what it is in the third segment. I'll get Bennett's thoughts on it. We'll do that a little later on in the show. College football playoff bracket. It was updated for the next to last time last night. Alabama is in. Ole Miss is out. And the committee subsequently confirmed that there's no path to the playoffs for Lane Kiffin's Rebels. That's what you get for, I guess, losing as a 13-point favorite at Florida in your 11th game of the season. I'll run you through the potential matchups. We'll do that in the second hour. And the city of Memphis is planning to sue both Kia and Hyundai. And the resolution, it was approved last night by the Memphis City Council. I'll tell you what that's all about during a segment we call 5 more things you need to know. Then we'll eventually do GP's carryout. And we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to, but I did want to start with your Memphis Grizzlies because game 22 of a scheduled 82 was played last night down in Dallas, Texas. Final score, Mavericks 121, Grizzlies 116. Yuck, yuck, yuck. To be clear, Nothing wrong with losing to Dallas in Dallas when the Mavs are healthy enough to start Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, and Derek Lively. They haven't been healthy enough to do that lately, but they were healthy enough to do it last night. So there's nothing embarrassing about losing to Dallas in Dallas when those 5 guys are in the starting lineup for the Dallas Mavericks. That's your reigning Western Conference champions. That said, you don't like to lose it like that, do you, Big Bet Bennett?
No, last night sucked.
Last night sucked.
Obviously, when these things happen and you have like a collapse like that, who's to blame? Where does the blame go?
Who do you want to blame? Let's blame somebody.
Well, I think that 2 things can be true at the same time. The Grizzlies collapsed in that fourth quarter. There's no doubt about that.
I'll co-sign that.
They just did. They
got comfortable when they let it slip away. And you can see it on their faces.
Yes,
Midway through the fourth quarter, they looked like a team that felt like they had already won the game.
Yes, absolutely. Like they were cruising with a 15-point lead, and then the game got in the mud, and they couldn't turn it back on. So, it's on them that they lost. However,
okay, Bennett.
However, the free throw discrepancy was outrageous last night.
Very dramatic. 44-14.
44-14. And I just saw Roser post this. And this is exactly where I'm at on last night's game. The fourth quarter took 42 minutes last night.
Buddy, don't tell me. I was waiting to go to bed.
Insane. I knew that it dragged, right? Everyone knew that it dragged. But when he just posted that, and I saw, shout out to Roser for posting that, that is absolutely ridiculous for an NBA game. That's criminal for that. 12 minutes, fourth quarter's 12 minutes long, and it to go 42 minutes is absolutely insane. Like the refs, you cannot. That game was awesome through 3 quarters. It was fun, not just because the Grizzlies were winning. It was a good game. It was exciting.
It was competitive in the first half. Then the Grizzlies ran off on them, and then the Mavericks ran off on them.
Yes, it was high level basketball. It was a lot of fun. And the fourth quarter sucked. It was just boring. It was nothing but free throws. It was dragged down, like you said, 42 minutes long. No one wants to watch that. Like nobody wants to watch that crap. And the officials have got to figure. I know that we go to reviews and whatnot more than ever with the challenges, and you want to get everything right. But dude, it's unwatchable. You cannot do that in an NBA game. You just can't.
Be glad that you are focused more on the NBA than college basketball, because the end of games in college basketball are terrible.
They're terrible too. We saw it in
Maui. It's just one replay after another. Refs at the monitor every 4 seconds. Just drags on and on and on. I don't know that there's an obvious fix for any of this stuff, because if there were an obvious fix for any of this stuff, it'd be fixed and we wouldn't even be talking about it. But let me ask you this question. I ask it from an honest place. You think the main reason the Grizzlies lost last night in Dallas, beyond the obvious point, which is they were an underdog in Dallas, they were supposed to lose. They're playing the reigning Western Conference champs on the road.
Yeah.
They were expected to lose. Beyond that, you think the main reason is they simply collapsed in the fourth quarter. I agree with you there. Do you blame the refs at all?
I do a little bit, because I just think that you have to realize that, that was like a historic free throw discrepancy.
Yes.
Like it was.
Well, okay, so 26 free throws for Dallas in the fourth. So that's where the numbers really get wild. And it ends up being 44-14. That's obviously a dramatic difference.
Yeah.
And if you want to go through the film, specifically in the fourth quarter, you can slow it down and find things that you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
That should have been a foul on Dallas. When Lively hit Jaren Jackson, the ref swallowed the whistle.
Mm-hmm.
That's unfortunate. Or Ja gets called for a carry. I know this isn't a foul, but it was another referee's decision.
Mm-hmm.
And you almost never see carries called in the NBA. So what are we even doing? Although, if you go back and look at it, it looked like a carry. And
but the official made that call because Kyrie turned around and screamed at her.
I do think there was some truth to that.
Yeah.
I think Kyrie called the carry.
Yes.
And then the official blew the whistle.
Yes.
But if I'm being honest, get the rule book, then watch the play. It looked like what it was supposed to look like, right? You can always find these things. And I'm confident if you're a Grizzlies fan and you go back today and you'll find them. And you can get to a point where maybe the Mavericks should have shot 40 free throws instead of 44. Or 38 free throws instead of 44, or 30. See, I'll take it wherever you want to take it. And you might be able to find some non-calls where, man, the Grizzlies, if that would have just been called, the Grizzlies should have shot 16 free throws or 18 free throws. But do you get the point? Mm-hmm. It was always going to be dramatically different.
Yes.
And this is something it's one of my, I don't know if it's a pet peeve, but it's something I noticed that most fans either do not notice or just simply do not subscribe to. Because I watch it every time anything like this happens in any basketball game. This was obviously dramatic, but it is not unusual for a basketball game to be played and one team shoot a lot more free throws than the other. And sometimes it can be because a coach is getting the benefit of the doubt because of his stature in the sport, or because of how he's riding the refs, or because of home court advantage being overwhelming. There have been studies that show officials are actually influenced by crowds. There's something subconscious going on in your head when you're a basketball official. You know, block charge call, and you are blow the whistle, and you have a moment here, and it could go either way. If I call a block, 18,000 people are going to cheer for me, or they're at least going to cheer for that. Mm-hmm. And if I call charge, 18,000 people are going to call me an idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like,
no, that's true.
Whether you realize it or not, that influences you as an official. Studies have been done on this. So all of these things can be factors. Here's my point. When you see dramatic free throw discrepancies in a basketball game, it is almost never, I don't want to say never, but it is almost never because the officials were cheating or determining the game or incompetent. Yeah, I'm sure there's always missed calls here or there in every game in the history of sports played somewhere on any field ever. But you can't get 44-14 simply because the refs don't know what they're doing.
Oh, I agree with that. And like you even heard Pete and Brevin say on the broadcast that the Grizzlies were shooting themselves in the foot, like that they were fouling.
Well,
they were.
Well, there's a million ways to illustrate this. Right? One would just be the Grizzlies took 8 more three-pointers than the Mavericks took. Okay? If you and I are playing one-on-one, which would be hilarious, by the way, but if you and I were playing one-on-one, and every single time I got the ball, I decided to drive on you, and this isn't what happened last night. It's just a hyperbolic example to hammer home a point. If you and I are playing one-on-one, and every time I get the ball, I'm driving right at you, and every time you get the ball, you just shoot it over me, you're going to get called for way more fouls than I am.
That's true, yeah.
And on some level, in fact, I think that's the main contributor to free throw discrepancies in games. You can go do this whenever you want. Find a game, go see who shot the most free throws in the game, and it is usually the team that shot the fewer number of threes in the game. So when you shoot less threes, you get fouled more. That's just basketball.
Yeah.
And the Mavericks shot less threes last night. They shot way more free throws. Again, you can find your questionable call here, questionable call there. I'm not trying to talk you out of it. I'm just saying there is absolutely no way to get to 44-14 simply because the refs are incompetent.
Sure.
That is a style of play thing. You're just on a very basic level. Last night, here's what happened. The Grizzlies fouled way more than the Mavericks fouled. To your initial point, which is, okay, fine, but it's not fun to watch this many whistles. I wish we could figure out a way to get that under control because we don't need that many whistles in a 12-minute deciding period of basketball. It bogs the game down. It's not enjoyable. This is supposed to be entertainment. That wasn't entertaining. But I don't get caught up on the 44-14 stuff that much.
Well, I'll give you an example of some. Like again, I'm not blaming the officials fully for this loss. I mean, it is on the Grizzlies, but like the moment when they challenge the Jaren out of bounds play when Jaren said I didn't touch it and said the ball was off Lively. And the refs go and look at that one. They looked at that for 10 minutes. My God, it took forever.
Right. Like maybe that's a fix. Like let's go to the monitor, and you got to define a period of time. You can't figure it out in that amount of time. Let's just go play.
But then instead of the overturning it Grizzlies ball, it was foul on Jaren Jackson Jr. Mavs back at the free throw line, and I'm just like. I'm sitting there thinking, seriously? Like, you have just sent this team to the free throw line a million times in this fourth quarter. That's what you're going to do right there after reviewing that call for 10 minutes? Like, this fourth quarter sucks.
Yeah, the fourth quarter
come
did
on.
Suck. Bennett, I agree with you. The fourth quarter sucked. Under the umbrella of, I don't want to use the word suck. That seems disrespectful. But on the subject of not great, Marcus Smart took a beating on social media last night.
Yeah, and okay, so you know where I stand on him. I'm telling you, once the playoffs roll around and if the Grizzlies are a playoff team, I want that guy on my team for the playoffs. So that's where I stand on Marcus Smart. He's one of my favorite players in the league. I was stoked when the Grizzlies went and got him, so fine. He did not play well last night. The one play that people are pointing to that I really want to defend him on, though, is the play when he jumps up and tries to save the ball inbounds
And
on the
jumped
Luka
off the baseline.
air ball.
Yeah.
He thought someone tipped that
Yes.
ball because Luka is rarely going to airball an open three-pointer.
I don't even mind that.
Yeah,
Hey, don't jump off the line.
Sure.
But I get that. I get assuming somebody had to have touched this because Luka's not missing a shot like that.
Not missing a shot like that. Yeah, so I just wanted to defend him there. But no, he didn't have a good game last night.
And so, again, he seems to be, at least in this moment, the lightning rod for Grizzlies fans.
Mm-hmm.
And some of this is because he spent part of the season hurt. Some of it's because of the emergence of Jalen Wells. Some of it's because he's coming off the bench. But as I was watching people last night, on some level, and again, I'm overstating it here, but write the obituary for Marcus Smart in a Grizzlies uniform. Like, he can't play. He's over the hill. And you realize it was literally less than a week ago. It was last Wednesday night, which, given that this is Wednesday morning, it was less than a week ago, where he went 8 of 12 against the Pistons for 25 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, and 3 steals. Yeah. And everybody said, that's the Marcus Smart we traded for. That was the idea behind all this. It was less than a week ago. We have really short memories.
Not to mention, the guy has accepted his role as a six-man coming off the bench for this team, which, that's got to be tough for him.
Of course it's tough for him.
Yes, this guy's been in NBA Finals. That's tough.
It's all tough for him.
Yeah.
You go from being one of the faces of a franchise that was competing for championships year after year after year. Mm-hmm. And then they decide, all right, we ain't done this with you, but we think we can do it without you. And then so they move you. And then they do it without you. And oh, by the way, then you have to endure last season in Memphis while your old teammates are enduring that. I mean, you can't get to more opposite ends. I mean, I guess technically you can. Though. If he got traded to Detroit, I guess it'd have been worse. But it's hard to go from going from one place to the other, hard to do worse last year specifically than what Marcus Smart had to endure.
Right.
So then comes back this season, and while he's injured, this second-round pick out of Washington State, who, by the way, is announced yesterday, the reigning Western Conference Rookie of the Month for games involving October and November.
How about that?
The first Western Conference Rookie of the Month of this season is Jalen Wells. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yes, this is all tough for him. Those weren't just his teammates back in Boston. Those are his best friends on some level. I mean, you remember the tweet back and forth from, I think it was at some point last season, and Jaren tweeted something about Marcus Smart, like my brother or something like that. And then Jaylen Brown jumped on. Do you know this?
Oh, yeah, I saw it.
Jaylen Brown jumped on. He was like, man, he don't even mess with y'all like that.
that was pretty funny.
All right? So all of this is not easy. And and by the way, we shouldn't take him completely off the hook here. As someone who is often, or who is sometimes also, I mean right now, I ain't in the tip-top shape of my life, right?
Yeah, I got you.
I'm doing okay.
I got you.
I'm not in the tip-top shape of my life, but I'm doing okay. Mm-hmm. He didn't report to camp in shape. That was clear.
Correct.
I mean, people were joking. I mean, I say all this.
No.
I say all this as nicely as I can say it. But when he walked into media day and they handed him his jersey, because everybody was in jerseys, full uniforms for pictures and stuff like that. And he was like, yo, this doesn't fit. And they were like, no, it's the same size you had last year.
Yeah.
It's like he hadn't tried to put on his pants in 6 months, and you try to put them on for the first time. You're like, man, these won't button the way they used to. I've run into that sometimes with shirts and suits. And
sure.
It's like, all right, time to go back in the studio. Uh-oh. Mm-hmm. We got any of those collar extenders? Mm-hmm. Can I get a collar extender from you? We've all been there. But it appears he didn't come report to camp in the best shape of his life. I think he would even tell you that. So it is what it is. But before I bury Marcus Smart last night, he was bad. I'm not going to forget it. It was literally less than a week ago where he looked exactly like you want him to look and impacted the game exactly the way you want him to impact it.
Yeah.
The lesson here, I think, and I'm going to talk to Vernon about this next, is that the NBA season is long. and there are tons of twists and turns.
Yeah.
And if you live and die with every game,
You can't.
You can't, but we do.
We do, but it's the wrong way to go about it.
I was just thinking about this last night. A week ago, Marcus Smart was awesome. Now he's a bum. What's the truth? Probably something in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when the Bucks came in here? Giannis, Dame, and they just looked like they hated each other?
Yeah, going nowhere. Yep.
Are they going to have to fire Doc Rivers?
Right.
Is it time to move Giannis? Well, now look. I don't live and die with the NBA every day from top to bottom because I have other responsibilities. I'm Grizzlies from top to bottom, but I can't cover the bottom of the NBA the way somebody who covers the NBA can. There's only so much bandwidth, so many minutes in the day. But I do follow all of the prominent NBA people, and I just sort of take note of these tweets. I see a tweet 3 weeks ago that says the Bucks are done. They just stink. They look like they don't like each other. Giannis and Dame don't know how to play with each other. The rest of the roster's getting old. Doc doesn't know what he's doing. That was all real stuff. Mm-hmm. It was within the past couple of days I saw a prominent NBA analyst tweet that the Bucks are absolutely contenders. A few weeks ago, Dalton Knecht looked like maybe the best rookie in the history of the world. LeBron doesn't look old. Man, can you believe he doesn't even look 39? Mm-hmm. And the Lakers, they might be a contender. Look at J.J. Redick. He's got this thing figured out. Fast forward to yesterday. The Lakers are done. LeBron needs to retire.
Right.
I promise you within the next 2 weeks, LeBron will have an amazing game, and people will be like, my God.
Can you believe he's doing this?
This is just a way. And if you're going to ride that ride every day, you're going to wear yourself out. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm happy to talk about it every day.
Yeah.
But I don't think I can come in last Thursday and do a show talking about Marcus Smart. Did you see that last night? Yeah. 8 of 12 from the field, 25 points in just 20 minutes. That's why you got him. That's how he impacts basketball. That's why the Grizzlies are going to be Western Conference champions.
Yeah.
And then come back on this Wednesday morning, less than a week later, and be like, he's done.
Right.
Like, I can't. How can you do both of those things?
You can't. And I completely agree with that sentiment, too, about living and dying with it. Like, last night is obviously more polarizing than most games. It's your last NBA Cup game, like, whatever. But it's also, that would have been your best win of the season to date. Like, if you win that game in Dallas, them at full strength, they played in the Western Conference Finals last year, or in the NBA Finals last year, that would have been your best win of the season. And so it takes, the discussion today would be, man, they can beat anybody.
Sure.
They can beat two. They've still got a little ways to go to probably be that top team, contending in the West. They've still got to beat some of these teams, right? They haven't yet. Yeah.
Yeah, and all that's fair. But like discussions, as somebody who like makes a living creating discussions are whatever you want to frame them. Discussions can be whatever you want. So you that's one way to frame it. You may frame it the other way.
Yeah.
The Grizzlies are at the top of the roster now, healthy. Mm-hmm. They're 6-1 in their last 7, with the lone loss coming on the road to the reigning Western Conference champs who had their starting lineup intact. And
okay, I like your.
And now they're 14-8, 2.5 games out of first place, tied for third in the West.
I like that.
Yeah, it's fine. With the Kings
like that.
With the Kings coming into town tomorrow night.
Put that in a newsletter.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. You want to make people happy, Grizzlies PR? Tweet that out. Tweet that out.
Clip it.
Clip that. Tweet that out, and then send out your injury report later.
I like it.
You can mix some good with some bad. Grizzlies are 6-1 in their past 7. Bennett, that's what I'm going to focus on.
I feel better.
And it was less than a week ago where Marcus Smart looked like an MVP candidate. So I'm fine with it.
I feel good.
Chris Vernon will be in here next.
It's the top 5 worst teams in the NFL. I think the Panthers are the worst team in the NFL.
I got the Saints number 1. Ha ha ha! Let's put the Aints up there. They're terrible.
I'll take the Titans as my worst team in the NFL. If they played Will Levis, they're for sure the worst team. Maybe in NFL history. Might be worse than the 0-16 Lions if they play Will Levis.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Yellow laces, really bright yellow primary color. You got black on the trim and on the edges.
I gotta get 'em.
And you got some red there as well. Look at that right there, Mike. Look at that right there.
Man, look at that G. Look at that G, boy. That G is moving strong right there, too, man.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Welcome back. Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. We're inside the Built Ford Tough studio. And on Wednesdays in the second segment, I'm joined by the host of the Chris Vernon Show, weekdays noon, Grind City Media. It's the great Chris Vernon. Look, it's Chris Vernon. Hey, Chris Vernon. Hey. Bennett said he blames the Grizzlies most for collapsing in the fourth quarter last night, but that he is also frustrated with the officiating. When Grizzlies fans hate the officials last night, do they have a valid point?
Yeah, I heard you guys. I thought that last night was the first time, what are we, 22 games in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I've got, many people have called me the beacon of credibility.
Okay.
And I haven't brought up the officials one time the entire season. That game was destroyed by the officials. And I heard what you had to say. It's not usually that, these people are incompetent. One team fouls more than the other. And you say, they took more threes than them. They track everything nowadays. The Grizzlies drove the ball 74 times last night. Mm-hmm. 74 times they drove the ball. In fact, the only team in the league that drives the ball to the hole more than the Grizzlies is Oklahoma City. And that was true last night. Dallas, on the other hand, doesn't drive. They only drove the ball 47 times last night. So that's a 27 drive discrepancy in the game, okay? They only took 20 shots on their 47 drives. They only made 7 of those. The Grizzlies were up 12 last night, and 7 consecutive possessions, they put them on the line. Where I fault the Grizzlies is that the half-court offense is still not good enough. It has to be better. But that game was only a half-court game because those officials were beyond incompetent. They play last night, if you saw, that was the greatest free throw discrepancy in a fourth quarter that we have had.
Sure.
In fact, when Tim McMahon put his up, that's Hacka Jordan. That's DeAndre Jordan getting fouled 14 free throws he took. So that's in 9 years, and that was an extenuating circumstance, okay? An extenuating circumstance 9 years ago. There's 1,200 NBA games played a year, roughly.
Right.
That's 9 years. That's 12,000 basketball games where that's never happened.
Right.
That's insane. Insane. They called the game one way for 3 quarters. And then in the fourth quarter, they called the game one way for one of the teams and a complete opposite way for the other team. And I'm mad at Marcus Smart, who you mentioned, because what is being held, he had a terrible foul 94 feet away from the basket.
Right.
He fouled him,
On Luka.
no question. That is being held up as the example for what happened. But that's crazy. You can go back and watch this, and in the fourth quarter, anytime anybody got bumped, they weren't even driving. They weren't even shooting the ball. This is putting them on the free throw line while they're just running a possession.
I got that, but listen, all of that acknowledged. It was a dramatic discrepancy, historic even.
Robbed.
I don't think you can get to 44-14 just by incompetence. I just don't believe that.
Well, it was 26 in one quarter, Gary.
I know, but I don't.
So it wasn't. How can you get from 18 to 44 in one quarter? It's impossible. You only played 12 minutes.
It's very possible. It happened last night.
Right, and it was disgusting. Honestly, it's ruined the game.
Here's what I'm telling you, and this is what I told Bennett. I hated all the whistles. Nobody needs that many whistles, period, in a basketball game, and it's particularly in a fourth quarter of a competitive game. But I didn't. When I watched that game last night, I didn't go. The officials, because this is what Grizzlies fans will say on social media, at least. The officials want the Dallas Mavericks to win and all that stuff. I just don't believe that.
No.
I don't believe that.
Look, the reason it's framed that way, Pete and Brevin didn't make a big deal out of it.
Right, I noticed that too.
They didn't make a big deal out of it.
Right.
I was going crazy.
I was not.
It was ridiculous. Every possession.
I was more.
Bro, 7 straight possessions. I don't even know if they took shots on them. 7 straight possessions. Put them on the line every time. Because I know the way the Grizzlies play.
Right.
And the way the Grizzlies play, when that's a free-flowing game, we're playing basketball.
Right.
That was not basketball. Yeah, the fourth quarter of that game was not basketball. That was one team having a free throw shooting contest. We had 15 steals in the game. Anytime you played basketball,
right,
the Grizzlies were in an advantage. Anytime they ran up and down the court and they actually played. And then that all grinded to a stop. So my point is this.
Okay.
You've either got to, if you want to say, hey, look, the Grizzlies fouled. Stop fouling. They shot 26 free throws. 26 free throws.
Is outrageous. I agree.
12,000 games.
I agree
and that
with
doesn't
you.
happen.
Yes.
Okay? That is on pace for over 100 free throws in a game.
It's outrageous.
It was terrible. Like, again, the first 3 quarters of that game were a blast. Everyone was having a great, not just because the Grizzlies are winning. And it was a completely different game in the fourth. It was hard. It was unwatchable.
And they
it was
only
unwatchable.
allowed it on one end. They only allowed. So if you want to play it fair is fair, then let the Grizzlies take 20 free throws in the fourth quarter too,
agree.
and let's just make the thing a 3-hour escapade. It was crazy.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
I agree there were too many, and then we can move on. I agree there were way too many whistles in the fourth quarter. That's not good for anybody involved. I don't think you can find, and this was the point I was trying to make, I don't think you can find enough missed calls or bad calls to support 44-14. That 44-14, even if you go back and find all that should have been a foul and that shouldn't have been a foul and add it all up, it's still going to...
What you're more likely to find is that the 14 goes up dramatically.
That's fine, but it wouldn't go all the way up to 44.
Maybe not.
Right.
But it would get up. It would get up there.
Well, you'd feel better if it was 44-24?
I mean, look.
I mean, that might have been the difference in the game.
I mean, I just told you one team drove the ball 74 times and the other team drove the ball 47 times.
Right.
So these were off-ball.
But like all drives aren't the same. You know that.
These were off-ball fouls.
I know, but all drives. When you say that, it sounds like all drives are the same. All those drives are not the same in terms of.
But that's not a driving to the team. That's not a team that drives.
Well, it's Luka Doncic.
They don't drive.
He gets fouled a lot.
They're middle of the pack at best.
What about him specifically?
In terms of drives throughout the game. Well, he wasn't. How many of the 44 did he take? He only took what?
He took 9 of them.
You also
No. He took 16 of them. Luka took 16.
You can't reward the whining. You can't reward that whining. Listen, you know where I stand. I think he's the best player in the league, but man, he whines more than anybody. You can't reward that.
It's 2 seconds into the game too.
Yes. He is
immediate.
I hesitate
By the
to
way,
even
he
say it.
bloodied Marcus Smart's nose.
Did you see Marcus Smart point at the officials with the gauze and he was like, see this?
Unbelievable.
Where are you at on Marcus Smart? It was less than a week ago. He had this great game, and everybody was like, "This is why we got him." And now it's like people think he can't play anymore. What's the truth?
I mean, he had a bad game.
Right.
He had a bad game last night. I still think he's intensely valuable to this team. I think he raises the collective level of defense. I think he's had an impact on Ja and the best players on the team. And I also think that it's good to have a veteran who's been through a lot in the locker room. And look, the same people that get down on Marcus Smart will be on his nuts as soon as he makes 5 threes in a game.
Right.
So,
and it might be tomorrow night.
Marcus Smart's an extremely valuable player for them. And you need people that can defend great perimeter players on the other team. And you need multiple guys that can defend.
I mean, isn't that why people think the Knicks are a real contender?
Also,
because they got those guys.
Yeah, and it's also like, I mean, look at the best teams right now. Oklahoma City has a bunch of wings that they could throw at you. So they throw Jalen Williams at you, and they throw Lou Dort at you, and they throw these different guys at you. And, you know, I think probably the most surprising team in the standings right now is Houston. And they're not a good offensive team. They do it by playing defense, and Dylan Brooks is on your neck the second that game starts, and then they take Dylan out of the game, and they bring in Amen Thompson, and they bring in Tari Eason. And these guys are flying around everywhere and causing all kinds of havoc. And so you need multiple guys that can defend wing positions. Another team that's been surprising, I know they got blasted last night by the Knicks, but that Orlando team has been one of the great stories, especially in the absence of Banchero. Same thing, where they've got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and they've got all manner of players that they Suggs and guys that they throw at you to make your life hard offensively. And so Marcus Smart is always going to be one of those guys that when it's very much like how I lived in the Tony Allen years. If you focus on the offensive end, that's going to be really up and down. But if you focus on the defensive end, you're going to see the value.
You got to, with TA, you had to live through the mistakes.
Sure.
With Marcus, there's a little bit of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, he played like crap last night.
Right.
He didn't make anything,
Right.
and he wasn't good. So, I mean, it happens. But, again, the same people that jump on Marcus Smart when he's playing badly are the same people that'll be fawning over him when he's playing well.
A couple more things with you. It was announced yesterday Jalen Wells is the reigning Western Conference Rookie of the Month. The first Rookie of the Month in the Western Conference of this season is a second-round pick out of Washington State. He's been starting for the Grizzlies. Last night was a bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
But, like, again, that's going to happen. If it's going to happen to Marcus Smart, it's surely going to happen to a second-round rookie.
I mean, he came out and he got 10 dropped on him by Luka by the time he got checked out of the game. I mean, that's a tough – look, this guy was playing in Sonoma State a year and a half ago, and now he's guarding Luka Doncic.
I mean, for real, think about that. Like, last season, you're guarding Oregon's wings.
It's
different than Luka Doncic.
I remember Roser will tell you a couple of years ago, we were starting Zaire Williams. That's when we were trying to make him good. And so they're starting him every game. And there was a game that they were playing against Phoenix. And it reminded me of last night where poor Jalen Wells is out there on Luka. And I turned to Roser and I said, out of 100 times, how many times do you think Devin Booker could score on Zaire? 98? Like 98 times? I said, they always say that, like, hey, we're going to take this rookie and we're going to throw him into the fire. I said, they've thrown him in hell. And last night, that's what I felt like with Jalen Wells. You're not throwing in the fire, you're thrown in hell, bro, because you have no chance of slowing down Luka Doncic.
Have you seen this clip? It made me think of this, of LaMarcus Aldridge talking on a podcast recently about this. Oh, it's so funny. So LaMarcus Aldridge is on one of the every retired basketball player got a podcast now,
for sure.
and then they get other players to come on. It's actually good.
Yeah.
Like, I love the stories. And so LaMarcus Aldridge is talking to somebody, and they say, so do you remember, like, the first guy who ever gave it to you? Like, was just, you're like, oh, God.
Oh, I think I did. Was it Duncan?
It was Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
And he said, I was a rookie, and we're playing, and he's like, they just keep going to Tim Duncan, and he's just scoring on me easy. And he said, the thing that was humiliating about it is he wasn't talking crazy to me. He was trying to encourage me. He was like, just keep working, young fella. Hey, you're working hard. You're trying hard. Keep going. Hey, just you're gonna get better.
Just so much worse.
With so much worse.
Yes.
Keep your head in it. You know, keep your head. Keep working. He said. So finally, after he just got me for like 14 straight points, he said, I go over to my coach. I forget who he was playing for at the time. He said, Coach, are you going to help me? He said, as long as he's making twos, he's not kicking it out to somebody making wide open threes.
Yeah.
And he's like, but Coach, this shit is embarrassing. He was like, you got to help me.
That is the one great thing about the athletes doing podcasts now is that you get those guys. I saw, did you see the one that's going around where KG is yelling, and Paul Pierce said that KG started yelling at him about Dirk, and he said, he just called me the N-word. And Paul Pierce was like,
no, he didn't.
No, he didn't. He said it in German.
Paul Pierce was like, that's my boy Dirk. Dirk would not do that. It's so funny. Those guys are funny.
He just called me.
They're hilarious.
He said it in German.
The funniest was Jeff Teague, but there's multiple fun.
Oh yeah,
just these guys. They just have incredible stories.
Yes,
and the ones who know how to tell them are hilarious.
The ones that are willing to, too.
Yeah, like I've noticed.
And I think it ends up. It's a domino effect,
right?
Because these guys are all on Instagram as well, so they're seeing their peers being willing to tell insider stories that you would not be privy to.
It's so good.
The one that I just saw the other day was the Gilbert Arenas. But it's so good for clips.
Right.
Where they said the nicest thing you've done for a fan to Nick Young, and he talks about banging some chick. Crazy.
The other one that always makes
so ridiculous.
The other one that always makes me laugh is Jeff Teague talking about Tracy McGrady. Do you seen that one?
Oh yeah.
Like whoever Jeff Teague was playing for, they traded for Tracy McGrady, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm on T-Mac's on my team." So he's like, "We get into practice, and coach is splitting us up into like starters and reserves." And he's like, "All right, over here, let's go starters, T-Mac, blah 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 blah, and Teague." And he said, then Tracy McGrady's like, "He's starting?" And I was like, yo, man, what's up? He said, so then I just started hating on him. He said, I'd be like in practice being like, Kobe never respected you. And he'd be like, you average 6 points a game.
So good.
He's like, I just kept telling him like, man, you ain't no Michael Jordan. They don't love you like that. Awesome. These guys have incredible stories. All right, last thing before I let you go.
Yeah.
As we were talking about Marcus Smart, and it was literally less than a week ago, he was 8 of 12, 25 points, and the answer to all of the Grizzlies' problems. Last night, we can't get him out of here fast enough. It just sort of, is that under the same umbrella of, this is the NBA?
Of course.
It was, and I mentioned this earlier, I can't live and die with what the Pistons are doing every night like you have to for the Ringer podcast because I got other things going on. But I follow all of you guys who talk about the NBA and write about the NBA. And I'll see tweets like this. However many weeks ago, LeBron looks fresh as ever.
Yeah.
The Lakers don't connect. Be careful. Woo, they might found something.
Long season.
And then it's like, he's old and they suck.
That's right.
Bucks came in here, got beat down. They look like they hate each other. Do they need to fire Doc? And then I saw Kevin O'Connor the other night tweet, the Bucks are absolutely contenders now. It's like, this thing.
Oh, well.
You might be wrong. I'm just saying these are the way the opinions shift dramatically, quickly.
Funny. And look, I mean, fair is fair. By the way, go look at the Bucks schedule.
Right.
We did this on the mismatch where.
Oh, God.
2 weeks ago, we said they're going to trick us. And sure enough, they're bozos that have been tricked.
That's some ex-Ringer podcast teammate hate.
Look, that's just look at their wins.
Right.
Look at their wins in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's looking like the Grizz home schedule.
I didn't mean to turn you against your former colleague.
No.
What I was trying to emphasize is that
that's the ebb and flow of the season.
If you're going to live and die with every up and down, you're going to drive yourself crazy.
It's the ebb and flow of the season.
There are people in Memphis.
It's the same thing with the Grizzlies, though.
Right.
I mean, that's why last night was all the more frustrating, is because that was a validation of the 6-game win streak. Right. That 6-game win streak is crap in terms of teams you played.
And that could have been the one.
But you can't do anything about that.
Right.
I mean, you're playing the Pelicans, and they're awful, and you're playing the Pistons without Cade Cunningham, and then you're playing the Pacers, and it's like there's not a bunch of good wins in that 6-game win streak. But now here's the step up. And so it'll be interesting to see how they handle themselves Thursday night against Sacramento, but more importantly, Saturday night against Boston.
But I get the sense that people could look at what the Bucks are doing right now and go, yeah, but look at that. That don't mean anything. I don't believe that people look at what the Grizzlies are doing and think it doesn't mean anything, or that their inability to win in Dallas last night means that they're fraudulent. I think people believe in these Grizzlies.
No, but I'm saying if you put a microscope to...
Yeah, I got you. You'll go, they played 6 nobodies and they won, and then they finally got on the road and played somebody. And
I mean, the 6-game win streak isn't as impressive as it sounds once you put a microscope to it. Same thing as what I would tell you with the Bucks now coming back. As soon as you realize who they've beaten to be, quote, back.
Right. Not much there.
No, there's not much there. And again, but that's the ebb and flow of the season, and sometimes your schedule's really rough, and sometimes your schedule lightens up for you.
Grizzlies back inside FedEx Forum tomorrow night. Kings are in town. Tickets available. Ticketmaster.com. Thank you, buddy. Woo-hoo. I'll see you soon. We come back, turn our attention to Tiger basketball. Pity's program back inside FedEx Forum tonight. Louisiana Tech in town. They were picked to win CUSA. Remember when Memphis used to win CUSA?
I do. I remember those days fondly.
That was fun, wasn't it? Well, now Louisiana Tech's supposed to. They're inside FedEx Forum tonight. Get you ready for that next. Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South.
We didn't talk about owling, and you're telling me you didn't know owling?
What the hell is an owling?
Owling is worse than Tebowing.
What is an owling?
How far can Kyra zoom out on this camera?
She can zoom all the way out.
Can she zoom out?
What are you doing?
I'm owling.
Okay. Wait, why were we doing this? What is that?
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Yellow laces, really bright yellow primary color. You got black on the trim and on the edges.
I gotta get 'em.
And you got some red there as well. Look at that right there, Mike. Look at that right there.
Man, look at that G. Look at that G, boy. That G is moving strong right there, too, man.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
There's no substitute for experience, the knowledge gained from having been there before, and the passion to share what you know to make everyone around you better. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either, and that's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evenings and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Penny Hardaway's Tigers will return to the court after a 2-1 week at the Maui Invitational last week. Louisiana Tech is the opponent tonight inside FedEx Forum. Combined record of the two schools, 13-2. Louisiana Tech 7-1. Memphis is 6-1. Tip schedule for 7 o'clock. Tigers are favored by 11.5. The total is 147.5. Big Bet Bennett, are you concerned it's a trap game?
No, because I was kind of excited about this game until Louisiana Tech lost to Southern.
They lost to Southern. I wish they wouldn't have done that.
That was one of those John Rothstein, the epitome of brutality tweets. Sure. So that's how I knew it was a bad loss.
Yep.
So, I'm not that worried, but just go out and play your best. Don't let them in the game.
Don't be goofy.
Yeah, don't be goofy tonight. Just go handle these dudes. And hopefully it'll be a nice resume win later on in the season. Maybe they do go out and win Conference USA.
Well, they were as high as 82 at KenPom after starting 3-0 with a victory over UMass. But they started slipping in the computers after that. And obviously, you lose to Southern, you're going to slide.
Yeah.
They have gone in a matter of, a few weeks from as high as 82 at KenPom to down to 107, which qualifies this relative to their net ranking as a quadrant 3 opportunity. So in this moment, this is only a game that can hurt you, can't really help you. But to your point, let Louisiana Tech lose tonight and then run off another 6 and then go win the league. And perhaps you look up on Selection Sunday, and this isn't as big as a Michigan State win or maybe even a UConn win. Definitely, I would assume both of those. But it can be another quality win against a possible conference champion.
By the way, you always hit me with trivia time. I want to hit you with a little trivia
Bill,
time. I want to hit you
with
a little trivia time. Only one team remains in Conference USA that was there when the Tigers were a member of Conference USA. Can you name the school?
UTEP.
That's it.
Yeah.
UTEP, the Miners. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
How much that league has flipped since. I mean, it's been a long, long time now. Since when did the Tigers leave? Like 2010, something like that. 2011. It's been a long time since the Tigers left.
The last year Memphis was in CUSA, it would have been 2011.
Yeah, but that everybody else is gone. They've all left. Where the hell did Southern Miss go?
Is that Sun Belt? Maybe
we haven't been keeping up with Southern Miss enough lately.
Let's see
they were our friends once upon a time.
Yeah, they're in the Sun Belt now. We used to enjoy.
We used to mess with Southern Miss a little bit.
If I'm being honest, when I was the Tiger beat writer, there was no less enjoyable road trip
than Hattiesburg.
Yeah, because it was a drive, not a flight.
Right.
And then it was like, when you were traveling with John Calipari, you were like at the Marriott Marquis in Midtown Manhattan.
Yeah.
Like we were nice hotels. Go to Hattiesburg.
They don't have those.
Either they don't have enough of them or any. They certainly didn't have. I'm talking 20 years ago at this point, right?
Yeah.
So either they didn't have them, or I think more accurately, if I remember this correctly, I could be making this up. I think what I remember is a Memphis booster, owned a hotel in Hattiesburg, like maybe a Holiday Inn or something. And so we always stayed, because I traveled with the team, like in the same hotel and all that.
Yeah.
And we always stayed in that Hattiesburg hotel because it was owned by a Memphis booster. It was like giving them business. But it was, with all due respect, it was just not the most enjoyable road trips.
Yeah,
That's what I would say.
I
do miss Southern Miss being a part of our lives.
I do too. Yeah, that was always fun.
Joy Lee's still there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Joy Lee Manales.
How about that?
You know Joy Lee?
No, I don't.
You don't know Joy Lee Manales?
No, who's that?
She was a former Lady Tigers coach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Had Tamika Catch. She was the coach when I was in college.
I remember Tamika, yes.
Joy Lee was the coach when I was in college. She is from Mississippi. She went back to Hattiesburg. She's been battling cancer, and it's been a story, but she's still there. We should get down there sometimes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know why.
What's that drive, like 6 hours?
It was one of those.
It's a hike, yeah.
It was one of those. It was not
a hike.
It was not.
It ain't like going to Oxford. No,
it's not like going to Oxford. Anyway, shouts to Southern Miss. I hope they're doing okay. Back to Louisiana Tech and Memphis tonight. Parth Dipadje had a nice preview of the matchup at dailymemphian.com, so I'll just steal some stuff from him. He points out that Memphis is shooting 46.9% from three-point range through 7 games, which is outrageous.
That is wild.
It's number 1 in the country.
Yeah.
They are the best three-point shooting team in the country. Or at least, I should be specific, they have the best three-point field goal percentage in the company. There's There's other teams that shoot more, make less of a percentage, but might technically, depending on how you want to evaluate things, be a better three-point shooting team. But nobody is, based on however many threes you take per game, nobody is making a higher percentage of them through the first month of the season than your Memphis Tigers. I mean, we're a month in the season.
Yeah,
like I know
it's real.
I know 7 games is only 7 games, but it's like roughly 25% of your regular season.
Yeah,
You know?
no, it appears to be real.
I do not think today's December 4th. I bet you $1,000 we're sitting here on January 4th, and Memphis is not still shooting 46.9% from 3. But they don't have to. That's an outrageous number.
No, we thought they were going to be a bad 3-point shooting team coming in.
There was not much evidence in the numbers of connected to the players who enrolled here that suggested this would be a good 3-point shooting team, much less lead the country in 3-point shooting field goal percentage. But that's where they're at. As Parth points out, there is you dive into the details and you can start to get some explanations perhaps. As Parth points out, none of the teams that Memphis has played so far are register as good 3-point defensive teams. They're all bad. So then the question becomes, are they bad because they got lit up by Memphis? Or are they bad and that's why Memphis lit them up? Is the numbers bad in part because they got lit up by Memphis? Or are the numbers bad because they're bad and that's the best explanation for why Memphis is shooting 46.9% from 3? Louisiana Tech, better than anybody Memphis has played so far at defending the 3-point line. So keep an eye on that tonight. Also, Louisiana Tech has got a legitimate, I don't want to say, this ain't Janai Broome at Auburn. You're not going to be watching Janai Broome again tonight. But Daniel Batcho is 6'11" big. He's averaging 20 points per game, 6.1 rebounds, 2.6 blocks, and shooting 74% from the field. So he's like a real player. And I know whether it's Dane Danger or Moussa Cisse or anybody else in the Memphis front court, they've all had moments this season where you go, okay, that's what you paid for.
Yeah.
But none of them have been consistently great. So it'll be an interesting matchup in the front court tonight for Memphis and Louisiana Tech. More than anything, I think you got it exactly right. Everybody's feeling good about Memphis right now. Mm-hmm. All of us. You feel good about the direction of the program. You feel good about this team. You feel good about these guards. I noted yesterday about during Penny's radio show, he was just saying lots of things that perhaps he's touched on here or there, but I don't think he's ever said them as clearly and convincingly as he said them the other night about how he looked in the mirror and realized he needed to, and these are his words, not mine. I don't want to pretend I'm sitting here saying Penny Hardaway needs to grow up. I've never said that. Penny Hardaway said about himself that he needed to grow up and do a better job running this basketball program. And in the offseason, when things got a little uneven and you end up saying some things you wish you never had to say and writing some things you wish you never had to write, that was largely my point. This was a good idea, but it's not going well. And the one constant through all of the turmoil has been the head coach. And he had not, through 6 years, shown an ability to run a smooth program that was consistently, A, winning, which is obviously the most important thing, but B, just not creating weird headlines that nobody needs. Whether it's recruiting and then standing by a young man who fired a gun into a car filled with people, or it's an academic investigation, or it's firing 4 assistants. Through 6 years, it had just been a lot of that and not enough of the good stuff. And that's how we get to a point where this offseason gets ugly. I find myself having to say things about a coach that I never wanted to say and write things about a coach that I never wanted to write. But it was all rooted in, man, this has got to get better or we got to do something. But at the end of the day, it falls on the head coach. And I don't know if on the day I said those things or wrote those things that Penny would agree with me. I bet more than anything, if he even noticed, I would never be so arrogant to think that he's sitting around waiting to see what I say. But if he noticed, I would think he'd probably been upset by that, right? I would be. I wouldn't like to hear that. But last night, or rather 2 nights ago, he sounded like a man who kind of co-signed what I was saying in writing.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to be better. I needed to be different. I needed to have a smarter approach, a more competent approach. And I love it when people take responsibility for things. Not just basketball coaches, but family members, friends, coworkers, anybody. I loved hearing that from Penny. I don't know if you noticed, Seth Davis has an article up on his new website about Penny Hardaway this morning. As Seth describes the story, he woke up on Saturday morning, called Penny. Seth was down in studios, TNT. Penny called him back, and they were on the phone for an hour. And the stuff Penny told him on Saturday was a lot of the same stuff that he told Memphis fans on Monday night. Like, we seem to maybe be turning a corner. Man, I hope so. We seem to maybe be turning a corner. And it would stink to give it back tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody feels good right now.
Yeah, this ain't some buy game.
You got a number next to your name.
Yeah.
You're 6-1. You got a victory over a Hall of Fame coach and a future Hall of Fame coach.
Mm-hmm.
Your guards look great. Three-point shooting's off the charts. Everybody feels good right now about Memphis basketball, both here and outside of here. When's the last time you saw a good Memphis basketball joke? Been a minute, hasn't it?
That's right.
When's the last time you saw a good Penny Hardaway as an AAU coach joke on Twitter?
Been a long time.
Maybe not a long time, but it ain't happened since last week.
Nope.
It ain't happened since they went 2-1 in Maui and bust into the AP poll at number 16. We're in a good place right now. Let's stay here.
Yes.
I like this place.
Yep.
I like this place. We're in a good place right now. Let's stay here. Tips at 7 o'clock tonight.
Number 2.
So last night was the second year 2, of the ACC SEC Challenge. You might remember we used to have the ACC Big Ten Challenge. And that was a big deal. They do it over 3 days around this time. And it was all on ESPN. It was like, who's the best, ACC or the Big Ten? Well, I don't know if you know, but television networks get involved in this stuff. And the Big Ten goes the way of Fox.
Mm-hmm.
The SEC and ACC are still ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ESPN is not going to build a made-for-TV conference versus conference event with a conference that they don't own media rights to.
Right.
So out with the Big Ten, and they're replaced with the SEC. And this apparently is terrible news for the ACC because the SEC last night went 9-1.
Damn.
Against the ACC. 9-1. Started 9-0. The ACC SEC Challenge is a 2-night event featuring 16 matchups, and it was over after the first 9 games. This would be like you're playing somebody in golf, match play, and you're up 10 through 10. What? How are you supposed to be up 10 through 10? Who are you playing?
Mm-hmm.
The SEC was up 9 through 9, for lack of a better phrase. The only thing that saved them from going winless last night was Clemson upset Kentucky inside Little John Coliseum in the nightcap.
They can't be happy with that.
It's a good game. It's a fun game.
It's a good game.
It's whatever. Clemson, it's good for Memphis. Clemson's coming in here, right?
That's right. That's right.
So that's a good win.
Yep.
You're going to have an opportunity to get a win over Clemson team.
Are they coming in here?
Or you're going there. You're going there.
Because
Right.
they came here last year.
Right.
Yep.
So you'll be in, let me get the date on it. You'll be in Little John. Is that just next week?
Is that what it's called? Little John?
Little John.
Little John Arena?
Little John Arena. Yeah, I've been there.
What the hell's that?
I think it's named after somebody. There's somebody Little
Like
John.
Robin Hood's sidekick?
I don't know if it's
Robin Hood and Little John?
What are you talking
Walking
about?
through the Robin Hood?
I know I'm familiar with Robin Hood.
His friend was Little John.
I don't think it's named after Robin Hood's friend. I don't think Clemson, Bennett. Let me double check, but I am skeptical that Clemson named its basketball arena after Robin Hood's friend.
Okay, just
let's find out
That's the
together.
first thing that popped in my head.
Okay. The second thing that popped in your head should have been: there's no way they named this after Robin Hood's friend, is it? Little John Coliseum. Let's see what this. If the Tigers are going there next week, we need to know why this place is called this place. So let's figure it out. Little John Coliseum opened in 1968. It was named after James C. Littlejohn, class of 1908, who was Clemson's first business manager and was involved in the building of various other athletic projects, such as Memorial Stadium. All right, all due respect, but you've had your run, Little John.
Yeah. So it's a guy that gave a bunch of money to the university. Yes.
He built some buildings.
Yeah.
All right, congratulations for building.
1908?
1908,
That's
buddy.
insane. Come on.
We need to fix this.
Let's upgrade.
I'd rather be named after Robin Hood's friends than some guy from 1908 who built some buildings.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Tigers are going to be able to go to Little John next week. I think it's next Saturday night. And have an opportunity to do something Kentucky couldn't even do, and that's beat the Clemson Tigers inside Little John. It's all good stuff.
Yeah, great stuff.
SEC ACC Challenge.
Yes.
So it's last night. Let me run you through this. It's crazy. So the games get started. Here's how they go. South Carolina over Boston College by 22. Then Missouri beats Cal. Then Georgia beats Notre Dame. Then Arkansas beats Miami. Then Ole Miss goes into the Yum Center at Louisville and beats Pat Kelsey's Cardinals by 23 points. Respect the sip. Texas A&M beat Wake Forest. Oklahoma beat Georgia Tech by 15. Tennessee beat Syracuse by 26.
Ooh. Syracuse down bad.
They are down bad.
Yeah.
I mean, their best player was out. But they were going to be big underdogs no matter what. And I know Tennessee is great and Syracuse is not. But as somebody who grew up with the Syracuse program,
Syracuse, dude.
That's Syracuse.
Yeah.
You're supposed to lose to 26 to anybody ever under any circumstances. So that's a wild result. LSU beat Florida State by 10. Those were the first 9 games of the event. Then Clemson upsets Kentucky inside Little John to make it 9-1. But the SEC right now, check this out. Clearly the best league in the country. Not even close. Like, it's really not close right now. The SEC has 13 top 50 KenPom teams. 13. Okay. Including number 1 Auburn and number 2 Tennessee. So you got in the SEC 13 of the top 50, including the top 2. If you want to know how this compares to, say, the American Athletic Conference, the AAC has 1 team in the top 50. It's Memphis. The SEC has 13. Now let's go back to the ACC-SEC Challenge, because this was even surprising to me. Even crazier than the SEC having 13 top 50 teams is that they have nobody lower than 73. Vanderbilt is projected to finish last in the SEC and is 73rd at KenPom. Now, go back to the American Athletic Conference. Do you know how many top 73 teams there are? 2, Memphis and North Texas. In other words, if you were to combine the AAC and the SEC, all but 2 teams would be expected to finish behind the last place team in the SEC.
Oh, wow.
But that's the AAC and the SEC, so perhaps that shouldn't be surprising. But the ACC is a strong basketball league with real basketball history, and is a league that when it expanded, the last time it expanded, Mike Krzyzewski, the Naismith Memorial Hall of Famer and widely recognized GOAT of the sport, said that the ACC, with the addition of its new members, would turn into the best basketball conference in the history of the sport. And maybe it will someday, but it's not that right now. Guess how many top 50 KenPom teams the ACC has right now? I just told you, for context, that the SEC has 13.
Okay, well, I'm going to obviously Duke and North Carolina are in there.
Yeah, Duke's 4, Carolina's 16.
NC State, maybe?
No, I don't want to get you caught up.
No, I got
Pitt's
you.
12.
Yeah,
Clemson's
I knew Pitt, because they're playing
Clemson's
tonight.
24 after last night's win.
So 5.
4. It's 4. There's only 4.
Oh, wow.
The SEC has 13 top 50. The ACC has 4. And here's what's even wilder. The ACC has 10 schools outside of the top 73. There's 18 ACC schools, 10 outside of the top 73. That means more than half the league would be projected to finish below last place Vanderbilt in the SEC. More than half of your league is worse than the worst team in the SEC, according to KenPom. That's insane. And so the obvious question is, well, what's wrong with the ACC? This stuff is always easy to explain. Syracuse is one of your biggest brands. They stink. Miami was in a Final Four a few years ago. They're not good right now. Notre Dame was consistently good under Mike Bray.
Yeah.
They're not right now. Louisville is one of the greatest college basketball brands of all time. Pat Kelsey will get them back to respectability. I think he's already got them there. But they just got beat by 23 points at home by Tennessee last night. They're not very good. When your biggest brands are down, your league will be down. And that's what's happening to the ACC right now. And they got embarrassed last night. We've reached the point in recent years where ACC coaches, come late February when we're starting to talk brackets, they jump on the ACC network or ACC radio, and they're talking about how the computers don't respect them and the human polls don't respect them, and they're not getting as much credit as they deserve for doing whatever it is they're doing. But the truth is, like last night, they're impossible to avoid when it comes time to build a bracket, when it comes time to project teams into that 68 school field. Like, we saw you play the best basketball. You think you're one of the best basketball leagues in the country, and we matched you up with the one the computers say is, and they smacked you around all night long. You can win all 6 games tonight, and you will still lose this challenge 9-7, even if you win all 6 games tonight. So they got humiliated last night. Looks like it's not going to be a strong season for the ACC, but you do get an awesome game tonight inside Cameron Indoor. Bruce Pearl's Auburn Tigers that won the Maui Invitational by beating Memphis. They'll be taking on Cooper Flagg, Concanipple, and the Duke Blue Devils tonight, Cameron Indoor.
Number 3.
So the Pop-Tart Bowl's coming up. You know all about that, don't you, Bennett?
I do.
And so in coordination with the Pop-Tart Bowl, Pop-Tarts brings an old Pop-Tart flavor out of the vault. It's all market. This is the way marketing works, I guess, right? And
they've done well with their bowl. People. There's buzz surrounding the Pop-Tart
Well, people
bowl.
like the Pop-Tart mascots.
Yeah, those are great.
Well, let's just start on a very basic. Does every pantry has Pop-Tarts in it, doesn't
Glad
it?
you brought this up. I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Mine.
Does your pantry have Pop-Tarts in it right now?
It does.
Mine does too.
But it's because we have kids. Like
I have kids too.
It's when we didn't have kids, it wasn't like we weren't going out buying Pop-Tarts. It's just such an easy.
The easiest.
It's so easy.
Pop-Tarts and pizza rolls.
Yeah, man.
Every household with kids needs those. Not because it's healthy. I realize we're terrible.
No.
But like when a 7-year-old comes to you and says, "Dad, I'm hungry." If it's morning time, you can always say, "Do you want a Pop-Tart?" That's 60 seconds.
Yes.
Do you want some pizza rolls? I hope you like them in the microwave.
Yeah.
That's 2 minutes. It's just, it helps your life. It probably is unhealthy for your children. Probably not great for your kids.
Likely.
But it's easier.
It's way easier. So yes, we are a Pop-Tarts family now. And the flavor, I was kind of disappointed in the flavor that they unretired. What was it again?
The unretired flavor is going to be the frosted cinnamon roll.
That sounds pretty good. I think
it sounds amazing.
I don't know about amazing. You
don't like a cinnamon roll? Frosted?
I do. But I like the better flavor is that like brown cinnamon sugar.
I like that. I didn't know we were ranking Pop-Tart flavors.
Well,
I thought we were just discussing,
okay.
do we like is there a Pop-Tart flavor you think you don't like? Do you think there's a Pop-Tart flavor you could take a bite of and be like, yucky?
Probably.
But what is it? I've never done that. I've never been into
ones without frosting.
I never been into a Pop-Tart and went, ugh. Never. Sometimes I'll bite into a pizza and go, ugh.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll bite into any number of things and go, yuck. But I never been into a Pop-Tart and been offended.
So I went and looked because I was just underwhelmed by the unveiling, and I went and looked up all of the retired Pop-Tarts flavors that you can't get anymore. And there's a couple of them that I think I would rather have than frosted cinnamon roll. You want me to run you through some of them?
I do want you to.
Watermelon, probably. That's weird.
That is weird, but
I'd eat the shit out of it, but that's freaking weird.
It doesn't make sense in my head, but I bet you if I bit it, I'd like it.
Okay, mint chocolate chip, absolutely not.
I love mint chocolate chip.
Yeah, but
anything.
No,
anything.
Just ice cream.
Anything. You could make mint chocolate chip chili, and I might like it.
Okay, all right, fine. Grape.
I mean, it's not going to be my pick.
Sounds kind of fun.
It's not going to be my pick, but
I would eat a grape Pop-Tart.
But if you said, here's a grape, let me ask you a question. Do you like them warm or just straight out the...
Either.
Either?
Yeah, either.
But
if I'm feeling fancy, like...
If I really want to be like, man, I'm going to sit down and enjoy this, then I'll put it in the toaster.
Well, if you want it to taste like a real breakfast, then you have to toast it.
Yeah, but if you just like out the door...
Yeah, I realize it does nothing with like the nutritional value, but if you want it to feel like a real breakfast, then you toast it.
I think that's right, but I'll take it either way.
Yeah, I will too. Frosted chocolate vanilla cream. That sounds incredible.
That's just a lot of stuff.
But come on, give me that over frosted cinnamon roll.
Say it again.
Frosted chocolate vanilla cream.
I like cream.
That sounds really good.
I like cream.
Okay, they did like the Ice Age 2 Ice Berry Blast. That looks like crap. It's blue. Everything's blue.
I'm going through a list here too I found on Reddit, and there's just none of them that I think I wouldn't bite.
Okay, here's one. Strawberry cheese Danish. That sounds like breakfast.
I'll eat that.
That sounds great. Strawberry cheese Danish sounds great.
I'll put that in my mouth.
Chocolate banana split.
Easy. Put
Sounds
it in my
fun.
mouth.
Sounds fun. Guava mango.
I mean, I don't even
That's
know what
a
that
little
is,
freaky.
but I'll do it. I ain't scared of it.
I'm not scared of it either. Okay, and then the last one is dulce de leche. Now that should have been the one.
I don't even know what's going on.
That's like the caramel.
I love caramel.
What's dulce de leche?
I don't know.
It's like a.
But I'll eat it. I don't even need to know. You don't even have to tell
dang,
me.
they go like back to like the 60s too in here. They got Dutch apple Pop-Tarts. They got French toast Pop-Tarts. There was like.
Here's what I stand by.
Yeah.
Here's where I stand. This is where I stand on this subject. There are great Pop-Tarts, and there are good Pop-Tarts.
Mm-hmm.
But there are no bad Pop-Tarts.
I don't think there's a bad Pop-Tart out there.
I've never seen one.
I would eat any Pop-Tart.
I think I would eat any Pop-Tart.
Number one, frosted cherry. It's just classic. It's classic. Tastes good. Hot, lukewarm, whatever. It's great.
It is.
That frosted cherry with the pink icing on top is incredible.
I got a list right here.
That's my favorite.
Chocolate chip cookie dough.
That's going too far.
Anything. I feel chocolate chip cookie dough. I feel the same way about mint chocolate chip. I'll put it on it. I have it anyway.
See, I disagree. That just takes again. That eliminates the breakfast aspect completely. You're eating a dessert there, and I realize they're all desserts.
Yeah.
But like,
buddy, you ain't over here eating eggs and avocado toast with your cherry Pop-Tart. All right, you think you're eating over easy and avocado toast? No, you're eating a Pop-Tart too, just a different flavor.
Something about it that makes you feel better about yourself. Oh, I ate a cherry Pop-Tart. No, I ate a chocolate chip cookie dough Pop-Tart. Come on, dude.
How about this? Hot fudge sundae. Man, I'd warm that one up good.
I'm gonna get a little wild here with this take. I'm not a big hot fudge guy. No.
How do you not like hot? Who doesn't like hot fudge?
No, I don't like watching my beautiful ice cream cone or bowl ice cream like melt everywhere.
But you get the hot with the cold.
No,
That's perfect.
No,
That's like heaven.
No. It's destruction. I want to look at it and be like, that looks amazing.
I want to get my shit real cold,
dude,
and then I want to make it hot.
When you dump that fudge on it, it starts melting everywhere, and all the ingrents start spilling everywhere. I hate that.
Man,
it ruins it.
I want that.
I don't like it.
S'mores.
Oh, I love those. Those are really great. I love those. Classic.
Can you imagine it's your job just to sit around and think about how to make Pop-Tarts?
I think I'd be really good at it.
Like you just sit around and you'd be like, you're in a conference room probably, and you're like, you know what?
Next flavor. Let's go.
Have we tried chocolate peanut butter?
Let's
try chocolate peanut butter.
Sounds pretty good.
I love peanut butter.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
I love peanut butter. I'll eat peanut butter straight out of the jar.
Obviously, yes.
I'll just take a knife and just get a big thing of peanut and just stick it right in my mouth like that.
Squirt a little honey.
I guess I shouldn't do that too often, but you know what I mean.
Don't do that again. Put a little honey on top of it. Yeah.
I like a Pop-Tart, Bennett.
I like a Pop-Tart too.
People love the Pop-Tart bowl, and I think part of it is because of the mascots. Like they have fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
They have the cute little Pop-Tart mascots, and then the one little Pop-Tart, he'd run around, or she could be a she.
Yeah.
You know what she's doing? She's holding a sign. You know what the sign says? Eat me.
Mm-hmm. And then pretty good. And then they cook them. Don't they cook the mascot after they put them in the toaster?
I think they kill the mascot.
Yeah, they kill the Pop-Tart, that's like pretty fun too. I like that aspect of it.
I'm for all of this. I'm for Pop-Tarts. I'm for the Pop-Tart bowl. I don't think they make a bad flavor.
I don't either. The chat's really screaming for wild berry, which I'm not gonna lie. I've had the wild berry Pop-Tart. It's not one that I've really gone after. Like I've never seeked it out over the years.
Yeah.
But I'll eat it. I'll eat the wild berry.
Of course. Like you can't name one that I wouldn't eat. If we wake up one day and it's like, you see the new Pop-Tart flavor? I'll be like, what? And you'll say, it's black olive Pop-Tarts. I'm out. I changed my opinion.
Yeah, that's weird.
But
I know you don't like black olives.
Hate them.
Yeah.
But this is all good stuff.
It is.
I'm happy for them.
Number 4.
College football playoff bracket. was updated for the next to last time.
How did we do the Pop-Tart Bowl before the CFP playoff bracket?
Well, the order doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
If you want to know the truth, I do put these in a very specific order.
I was going to say.
I always start with the thing I think we need to talk about most.
So that was more important.
No. I start the list of 5 things.
Yeah.
I really do. It might look like there's no thought into that. Okay. I promise there is. I start with what do I want to get to first? And I thought with the Tigers at home, 2 days after being nationally ranked, let's go there. And then let's just keep it on college basketball from, number 1 to number 2.
Good transition.
So we'll go to SEC, ACC Challenge. And then you might notice, or maybe not, but usually in the middle, I like to break it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Get something a little off the sports and whatever.
I got you.
And while recognizing that it'd be good for the people who like the non-sport stuff. And the people who like the sports stuff, well, you can see it right there on the screen. We're getting back to it in a second. Just let us talk about Pop-Tarts for a minute.
That's true.
And then we hop right back into the college football playoff bracket. And then at the end, I usually find something that I think we can just talk about.
Like a human interest
for 2
story.
minutes or 20, and it doesn't really matter either way.
Got it.
That's the design.
I think Pop-Tart flavors are way more important than the college football playoff rankings.
I promise you, we will have just talked more about Pop-Tarts than we will talk about the college football playoff rankings. But the bracket, it was updated last night for the next to last time. Oregon is your 1 seed, Texas your 2, SMU your 3, Boise State your 4. Alabama, I guess this was the big headline, gets in at number 11, just in front of a projected Big 12 champ, Arizona State. And if you're an Ole Miss fan, hoping that A, you would get good news last night, you didn't get that. Or B, that maybe there's something that could happen in championship week that would change the math on this stuff. And the committee more or less last night confirmed, no. Like, smarter people than I, who cover this more closely than I, have submitted that after what happened last night, based on the bracket we're looking at and what the committee chair told us, those are the 12 teams that are going to be in the college football playoff, probably. We're just playing for seeding. In other words, Ole Miss, you're out right now. You're out forever, or at least forever as it pertains to this season. There's no chance, the committee more or less said, that Ole Miss is going to be able to jump Alabama or any SEC school or anybody else based on anything that happens this weekend. So you're going to a bowl game. Congrats. But it won't be the college football playoff. And that's what you get for losing as a 13-point favorite in your next to last regular season game of the season to a Florida team that most of their fans want to fire their coach.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm at on all this. I get it. If you're Lane Kiffin, if I were Lane Kiffin, I'd be making an argument right now.
And he is.
That we deserve in over Alabama. And you know what? He might be right. And if I were, I saw the AAC commissioner trying to make a case for Memphis. Everybody can make their cases. I just refuse to feel sorry for anybody, because here's the truth with every one of those teams that you see in that bracket and every other team in the country, certainly at the power conference level. I get it. You're in the MAC and there's only, you can't touch this.
Sure.
So I don't want to say if you didn't make it, it's your fault, because just based on where you play and where you're at and who you are, there are some schools at the Division I level who had no chance to make this when the season started, period. But Ole Miss had a chance. And they blew it. They lost 3 games. 2 of the games, they shouldn't have lost, or at least they were favored to win. They were 13-point favorites at Florida. With Memphis had a chance. If Memphis were undefeated right now, Memphis would be in that bracket we were just looking at. And the only reason Memphis isn't undefeated right now is because it lost 2 games it was not supposed to lose. I know you realize this.
I do realize.
Memphis beat 2 teams this year they weren't supposed to beat based on the point spreads at the time of the kickoff. That'd be Florida State and Tulane. But they also lost to 2 teams that they weren't supposed to lose to. But this is what I'm telling you now is a fact. Memphis this season never lost to a team never lost to a team that was supposed to beat them. Every loss on Memphis' schedule was to a team that Memphis was supposed to beat when the game was played. So it's a missed opportunity. I don't want to really say things like you blew it, because that seems harsh. But it was a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
It's a missed opportunity at Memphis. It's a missed opportunity at Ole Miss. And any other power conference coach who watches that bracket get unveiled last night and thinks that they're on the wrong side of the so-called bubble incorrectly or unfairly, I'd look right back at him and go, you might be right, but we could have avoided all this if you'd have just not done that thing you did that you shouldn't have done. Do better next time, and you'll get better news next time. I hate that Ole Miss isn't going to be able to compete in this thing because that's a team that's good enough to.
Yeah, I agree.
They could win a game. They could win two. They could. Who knows? But they gave it away. When you're that close to it, you can feel it. You can touch it. Can't go lose a game like they lost that late because it becomes very difficult to recover.
Number 5.
So here's another story you sent to me, Bennett. Memphis City Council last night voted or approved a resolution, I'll put it that way, that's going to allow the city of Memphis to file a lawsuit against Kia and Hyundai. And the idea behind the lawsuit is that both Kia and Hyundai know that they have safety defaults in their cars that make them very easy to steal. Mm-hmm. They know that this exists. They have the technology to fix it, and they're not fixing it. And so people here are buying all of these Kias and all these Hyundais, and then we're having people just steal them nonstop because, you ready for this? It's in the story. Do you know how you can learn to steal a Kia or a Hyundai?
Social media.
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok.
There are TikTok videos that teach you how to steal Kias and Hyundais. So criminals watch TikTok, and then they go steal cars. And so now Memphis is saying, all right, we're filing a lawsuit against Kia and Hyundai. You got to help us here because we're stressed. Like, our police force is stretched thin anyway. And we're spending a lot of time on car thefts that we shouldn't have to. And we wouldn't have to if you just do better in manufacturing your vehicles. Do they have a fair point?
So when I first saw it, and I'm glad you brought all that up, because when I first saw this, I, like a lot of people, was like, this is stupid. Like, you're trying to put a Band-Aid on a problem that's way bigger than this. What you should be doing is, and everyone agrees on this, arresting criminals and putting them in jail. Worry about the criminals. Don't worry about the freaking cars that are being manufactured. Worry about the people that are robbing and stealing and stuff like that. Totally valid point. However, with what you said about, it is so easy to steal these cars. Like, people do.
You ever see these videos? It's
they
in
do
seconds.
it in 3 minutes.
I mean, it's quick.
It is very quick.
They'll walk into the Huey's parking lot, pop, pop, boom, your car's gone.
Yes. And so I do tend to agree. Like, when you, on surface level, it seems kind of silly. But I do agree that these car manufacturers have a responsibility to make it not easy as hell to break into people's cars and drive off with them.
Okay. Follow-up question.
Yep.
What other city is suing Kia and Hyundai?
I don't know if any other city is suing Kia and Hyundai. I know that other cities have talked about this before.
Sure.
This is not the first that I've seen this brought up before. I think Memphis might be the first.
I've heard the Kia thing before for sure.
Going through with it. Yeah.
I was once the owner of a Kia, my younger life. It was never stolen. Wrecked, but never stolen.
Yeah.
Whatever. File a lawsuit if you want to. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's like a little missing the point. The problem in Memphis is not that Kia and Hyundais are too easy to steal, because theoretically, that should be a problem anywhere Kias and Hyundais are.
That's right.
Which is everywhere.
And it's not. Right.
You know what the problem is? And I say this, the problem is, as a community, we are too poor, too impoverished, and we are raising criminals. And either out of desperation or no respect for the law or anything in between, they're stealing cars nonstop. It's not simply because they're easy to steal. You can make them harder to steal. I bet they'd still try to steal them.
Yeah.
Our problem here is it's a people problem. It's a poverty problem. It's a crime problem. And it just seems, what does it hurt? I'm fine. Because I'm not protesting. What does it hurt?
Sure.
File a lawsuit.
Try
I don't
something.
care.
Try
something.
Yes.
If you think this will help a little, fine with me. But at the end of the day, we've got blaming our problems on Kia and Hyundai seem a little ridiculous.
Right, I agree. That's not it.
That ain't it. You can't. I don't think Kia and Hyundai gonna solve our problems.
Now, the reason that I think it actually makes sense for a city like Memphis is because you mentioned like it's a poor city. Like those are affordable cars. You know,
that's why I used to own one.
Yeah,
I used to be poor.
Those are the cars that people are buying, right? And specifically in a city like Memphis. So, you know, again, I don't fault them for trying something. And like I said, like I saw this and was like, that is so stupid. But try anything, but try to address the real problems.
If you think it will help a little, if it'll keep one Kia or Hyundai from getting stolen, what do I care? It's a resolution passed mostly by people I don't know. It ain't going to impact my life in any way whatsoever. But the main problem isn't that Kia and Hyundais are easy to steal. It's that we have a lot of people
that are stealing Kias and Hyundais.
That are just stealing.
Right.
And if it's not Kia and Hyundais, it's liquor bottles out of stores. It's,
merchandise. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't intentionally, leave my car unlocked in my driveway, ever. But if I did, I wouldn't even think about it. Now, I don't think my car's easy to steal. But more than that, I'm not concerned about anybody trying to steal my car, given where my car's sitting most of the time. But unfortunately, and that just comes down to where I live. Are you comfortable keeping your doors unlocked in your car?
No.
Right.
No.
I would keep my doors unlocked in my car and put my credit cards and $5,000 cash in there and feel comfortable. It's going to be there when I come out in the morning.
Yeah.
And feel comfortable it's going to be there 5 weeks from now if I leave it there. Even if I leave my car unlocked in my driveway every single day. But you don't feel that same way because of where you live.
No, I don't leave it. There's nothing in my car.
Right.
Like nothing.
Right. So what's the problem here? Is it really Kia or Hyundai, or is it where I live, we don't have people breaking into cars nonstop, and where you live, they do. I don't mean to say that the way I said, because that's what we're talking. That's the real problem here.
My car's been broken into.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I lived in downtown Memphis, my car was also broken into.
Yeah.
All right. But my car has never been broken into living where I live now. I don't even think anybody's ever seen my car living where I live now. So it's just if this will help, whatever, do it. It's not the real problem. The real problem isn't that, those cars are too easy to steal. The problem is we got a city filled with people who are either so desperate they feel like they have no choice, or have no regard for the law, or something in between. I don't know. You can't paint it with a broad brush. But that's the real problem. It's not this stuff. Be back with GP's Carryout.
We didn't talk about owling, and you're telling me you didn't know owling?
What the hell is an owling?
Owling is worse than Tebowing.
What is an
How
owling?
far can Kyra zoom out on this camera?
She can zoom all the way out.
Can
Are
she
you gonna
zoom
hit us
out?
What are you doing?
I'm owling.
Okay. Wait, why were we doing this? What is that?
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Who will lead the Grizz in steals this season?
I'm going to go with Pippen for steals this season.
So I'm going to go with Jaren.
I'm going to go, as long as he's in the rotation, I'm going to go Jake LaRavia for total steals, and I'll have Marcus Smart in my back pocket for steals per game.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizz Beat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
I can't tell you how many people texted me and thought it was the funniest thing ever that you were sitting on the front row in your jersey.
Yo, no.
You were wearing a Tony Allen jersey on the front row. They're like, yo, tell him to check in.
That joke was smeedy.
I told Tia, I saw Tia, I said,
Yo,
man,
I
you
did
should
have a hoodie on, though. I mean, a sweater on.
I told Tia, you should have sized up on that joint, man.
Yo, shout out to Robin Hood, man.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back to Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. Let's wrap this up with GP's carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
Whole bunch of stuff, but let me focus on some, I think that's breaking news from the last hour from our old pal at Grizzlies PR.
Oh, God.
No, it's not bad.
Oh, okay.
I know. I understand. I know. I say Grizzlies PR, and
have
you're
to
like,
brace myself.
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, who died? Nobody's dead. Nobody's dead. But Zach Edey has been assigned to the Memphis Hustle just for practice. He'll be recalled to the Grizzlies following practice.
Okay, positive development.
But like in this moment, we're in a moment right now. You ready for this?
Yep.
We're in a moment right now where Yuki, Cam Spencer, and the reigning two-time National Player of the Year, Zach Edey, are all members of the Memphis Hustle right now.
That's pretty good.
We got a national champion,
Freaking
a
all-star
National Player
team.
of the
Yeah.
Year, and a Yuki.
That's amazing.
Right now in this moment, the Memphis Hustle have a national champion, a National Player of the Year, and a Yuki.
I love it.
Good time to be a hustle.
It really is.
Yeah. Zach Edey, that's good news, right?
It's great news.
Better than not practicing.
We've heard the rumblings that he's getting close. Taylor Jenkins even suggested as much.
You'd rather him practice than not practice, right?
Yeah.
All right. So
ready to get him back.
Ready to get him back. Perhaps, I don't want to speak out of turn. I'll let Grizzlies PR handle all the announcements. But next game for the Grizzlies is tomorrow night against the Kings inside FedEx Forum.
Also worth mentioning that because the Grizzlies were eliminated from the NBA Cup, they will have a home game next Friday night against. I don't know.
Oh,
do you know?
Yes, I do know. I thought it was. Let me make sure I know. Against Brooklyn, the stupid Nets coming in here again. NBA didn't do us no favors. You'd think giving us the Nets is a favor, but it's not a favor for us.
That's true.
They beat us all the time.
No, come on.
You think so?
No, I'll take that one. Give me that.
I feel like that's what you said last time.
We've come a long way since then.
Have we?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we've come a long way since the Brooklyn travesty.
I hope you're right.
Yeah.
Man,
it's kind of like another revenge game in a sense.
Well, I look forward to it.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
That'll be Friday the 13th. How you feel about Friday the 13th?
Oh, that's kind of scary. I mean, that's
Zaire coming in here on Friday the 13th.
Yeah, I don't love it. I don't love it. Bad things happen on Friday the 13th.
Do they though?
Maybe it'll be Friday the 13th for
Every
Brooklyn.
Friday the 13th, people say, "Oh, you got to be careful today."
Yeah.
What really happens bad on Friday the 13th? Is it unusual to other are more bad things going to happen on Friday the 13th than say Thursday the 12th or Saturday the 14th?
Probably not.
Yeah. So what are we doing?
It's just fun.
Yeah, but
it's just fun.
Do you know in hotels? You ever notice this? There's no 13th floor.
Really?
You go to a hotel, yeah, because 13 is an unlucky number.
Is that true?
People don't want to stay on the 13th floor because they feel it's unlucky. And so you go to a hotel, it goes 4, 11, 12, 14.
I didn't know that.
I think that's right. That's certainly true in the hotel I stay at. Hotels don't have 13th floors. Many hotels do not have a 13th floor because of the widespread superstition surrounding the number 13. It's called triskaidekaphobia, some sort of phobia.
Makes sense.
Where people consider that number unlucky. So rather than have every 7th customer come to the front desk and be like, hey, I don't. Can you get me off third? Here's your room, 1312. 13. Can you get me out? They just say, hey, we're gonna. And you know what? You're really on the 13th floor. I mean, like technically speaking, there's got to be floor 1, floor 2, 3. They just don't call it the 13th floor. They call it the 14th. I saw this with. I can't remember what golfer it was. It might have been Sahith Tagala, but it was the same type of thing. There was an Instagram video going around. Somebody had taken video of his bag, golf bag. And it, the clubs are all in there in order. And it was like, there's his 4-iron, there's his 5-iron, there's his 6-iron, and then there's an 8-iron, and then there's another 8-iron. But there was no 7-iron. So it's like, is he not carrying a 7-iron? Do you know this story?
No.
And he said, well, of course I'm carrying a 7-iron. But he was so in his head about I can't hit my 7-iron. He took it to the truck and got him to shave off the 7 and put an 8 on it and like make the 8 a different color or some little thing to indicate to him
he would know.
This is really your 7-iron. But we're going to put an 8 on it just to give you something, just so when you reach in your bag and grab it, you see an 8 instead of a 7. And we think that can help you mentally.
Yeah, that's weirdo behavior.
That's weirdo behavior, right?
Yeah.
But this is the type of thing people do to themselves.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So anyway, the Brooklyn Nets will be here on Friday the 13th. Ooh, can't wait.
What's today's biggest game?
I'm taking you to Cameron Indoor.
Okay.
We got an 8:15 tip on ESPN. It's Auburn, second in the AP poll, number 1 at KenPom right now, against Cooper Flag and the Duke Blue Devils. Despite Auburn being ranked number 1 at KenPom, the Tigers are 3.5-point favorites or 3.5-point underdogs, rather, to a Duke team that is 5-2 and led by a 17-year-old. That, of course, is Cooper Flag. Benadoya, I know you just watched Auburn win the Maui Invitational by handling your Memphis Tigers pretty easily in the title game. How are you going to act?
I'm going to take Auburn.
Auburn on the road.
Yeah.
I've kept Kansas.
I like that 3.5.
I've kept Kansas number 1 in the top 25 and 1. And I will continue to do it as long as Kansas is also undefeated. Because that was my preseason number 1 back from April 19th. And I'm just going to stand by them as long as they never lose. But it makes it harder if Auburn keeps winning big games like this.
Yeah, I like that 3.5.
I'm not convinced Auburn's the best team in the country. But I am comfortable acknowledging Auburn does have the best resume in the country right now. I still think Kansas is the best team. But Auburn has done more. And if you add to what you've already done, a victory over Duke inside Cameron Indoor, that will be the type of thing that will have some people flipping Auburn to number 1 over Kansas in the AP poll. It won't me, I don't think. But massive game. Auburn, 3.5-point underdog. Bennett says take the Tigers plus 3.5.
What are we watching on TV?
Can I interest you in Is It Cake Holiday?
Oh, my God. We've been watching it. My kid loves it. This
is the craziest thing to me. It's probably a year ago, 2 years ago, at some point. We were at a friend's house, and we were sitting on the back porch. Me and sort of the house was divided, probably by husbands and wives. And the husbands, not to be stereotypical, but we were on the back porch watching basketball on the television or something. Football, basketball, baseball, whatever. And the mothers, they were inside the home in the living room, and they were watching something on Netflix. And I just sort of stumbled in. I was like, what is going on here? It looks like a game show, but what is the deal here? And they said, it's called Is It Cake? I said, okay, well, what's the deal? What do you do? And you correct me if I'm wrong, but this is my impression of it. You're a contestant on a game show, and your job is to look at something. And it could be anything, a suitcase, a garbage can, anything. And you have to say, is that a real suitcase? Or is that a cake designed to look like a suitcase? And then you make your decision, and then they take a knife over there and they cut into the thing. And if it won't cut, oh, buddy, that's a real suitcase. But if it does cut, oh, wow, that's cake. And that's the game.
That's the game.
Doesn't that seem crazy?
Yeah, but once you're in it, it's kind of fun. I didn't understand
I gather
it
that
either.
it must be. There must be something that holds you there.
Yeah. Well, it's cool. Okay, first off, these people that they have on the show are like incredible at designing these cakes.
Oh, here's the thing. I want to be very clear. You can't tell.
No, you can't tell. Like they'll have like a couple real laptops, and then they'll have a cake laptop, and you'll miss.
You'll miss.
You'll be
like, there is no way that's a cake.
Right.
And then it'll be like, holy shit, that's a cake.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of mindless family fun.
The most mindless.
Yeah, like it's just like a good show to watch with your whole family.
Like I walked in that living room and I saw that and I said, what's going on here? I was just trying to be, I was trying to engage a little bit.
Yeah, I got you.
I was like, I was trying to make everybody feel like they're a part of something. I'm not the best at that. So I was getting out of my comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah.
I walk in, I'm like, hey ladies. Hey girls. What's going on here? What are y'all up to?
Yeah.
We sure do miss y'all outside. We wish y'all were outside with us.
Yeah.
But if you want to stay inside, that's fine. But how you doing? How's everything going? What are y'all watching? I was trying to engage a little bit, And then they explained it to me, and I went, how high am I? Or is this serious?
It's real.
This is really, like, how? Yeah. Think about how this has to happen. Somebody had to pitch this. How do you even think to pitch this? Somebody had to go to somebody else and say, I got an idea for a show for you. They said, okay, we do shows. Let's hear it. All right, so we get these bakers. We can call them bakers. We can get these bakers. We're going to give them like a backpack. And then we're going to say, make a cake that looks just like this backpack. And then we're going to have some other fellas, and we'll make them stand about 25 feet away or so. And then we'll ask them, you think it's a real backpack or a cake? And then we wait for them to answer, and if they get it right, we'll celebrate. And if they don't, then then they didn't get it right. That's the game.
Yep.
How does somebody go, man, that sounds amazing?
I don't know, but whoever they are, they're a genius because for whatever reason it works. Like I thought it was the stupidest thing ever, and then they have it on and they're watching and they're like, "Oh, that's cake." I'm like, "What are you?" And I find myself sitting there like, "Is that cake? Is that not cake? Is that cake?" Like it sucks you in.
I want to be there has to be something that sucks you in because they wouldn't be making this many seasons of it. They wouldn't be making you the holiday version of it. It wouldn't be top 10 at Netflix right now.
Nick is exactly right. He said in the chat, this was a thing on TikTok. People were watching these videos. They were going viral of these amazing cake bakers making stuff. And it was like, they were like, basically you couldn't, it was like this microphone, right? And they were slicing through it, and it was satisfying to people to see, like, because it looks like a real microphone, and then someone takes a knife and slices through it. Like there's one that's really famous of a person's head, and it looks like a real person, and someone takes a knife and slices it, and you're like, oh my God, but it's just cake.
I think that was a Hezbollah video.
No, it was cake. It was cake. Yeah, there's like icing and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
It was cake.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm all for taking things from TikTok and making them into television shows, I guess. But where's the Big Bank Challenge television show on Netflix?
Oh, it's on its way. It'll be here. It'll be here soon enough. Well, it's not. It's not family friendly. That's the problem.
Look, it can be.
I don't think so.
Depends on what kind of family you are, Bennett.
Disagree.
I think it comes down to what kind of family you have.
What's the best thing we've read?
Over at CBSSports.com right now, I updated the top 25 and 1 this morning, focusing on the SEC embarrassing the ACC last night in the SEC ACC Challenge. 9-1 SEC through night 1, already clinched the second edition of the ACC SEC Challenge. We got more games tonight, but the SEC smacked them around last night. If you want to read that, you can find it CBSSports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Thursday. Man, I love Thursday.
Game day.
Oh, it's game day. We'll be looking back at Tigers, Louisiana Tech. We'll be looking ahead to Grizz Kings. Mike Wallace is going to join me. He'll help us get ready for Grizz Kings. Should be a fun show. Looking forward to it already. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to enjoy mine. Be back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.